What if the hardest part of getting old isn't losing people, but losing the belief that you still matter when no one is around? Let me ask you something most people over 65 are afraid to answer honestly. When the house goes quiet, when the phone stops ringing, when days pass without real conversation, do you assume that loneliness is just the price of living longer? Here's the mystery. Millions of seniors live alone in the United States, yet only some sink into deep loneliness while others remain surprisingly content. What are they doing differently every single day? The answer is not what most people think, and it's been hiding in plain sight. The early clues show up in the data before they show up in emotions. American health surveys reveal that living alone does not automatically predict unhappiness. In fact, some older adults report higher life satisfaction than younger people. That doesn't make sense if loneliness were simply about being alone. So something important is missing from the common explanation. And until we find it, millions of seniors will keep trying the wrong solutions. To understand how to stay happy and avoid loneliness when you're old and alone, we need to follow the cause and effect timeline that aging science has spent decades uncovering. The origins of this issue begin in early adulthood. In your 20s and 30s, social life is largely structured for you. Work, family building, parenting, and community obligations create constant interaction. Psychologists studying social integration found that young adults rarely practice intentional connection because they don't need to. The cause is external structure. The effect is untrained emotional self-sufficiency. No one notices this gap because life is loud. Then come the changes that start quietly in the 40s. Social circles shrink. Careers stabilize or plateau. Children leave home. According to long-term U.S. studies, friendships become fewer but more meaningful during this period. Here's the critical shift most people miss. Social interaction becomes a choice instead of a guarantee. Those who never learned how to create connection intentionally begin relying on habit and proximity. It works for a while, then it doesn't. Now we reach the shift after 70 that most people ignore. This is where loneliness becomes dangerous. Data from the National Institute on Aging shows that after 70, social loss accelerates. Spouses die, friends move, fall ill, or pass away. Driving decreases, mobility shrinks. The cause is biological and social change. The effect is fewer spontaneous interactions. At this stage, loneliness is no longer about company. It's about meaning. This leads to the breaking point. It often arrives quietly. Days blur together. Motivation drops. Sleep changes. According to U.S. health surveys, chronic loneliness in seniors increases the risk of depression, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and even early mortality. Researchers compare its health impact to smoking and obesity. And yet, many older adults blame themselves. They think loneliness means they failed socially. That belief makes everything worse. The fallout spreads fast. Health declines, medical visits increase, spending rises, lifestyle contracts. Seniors who feel lonely are less likely to exercise, cook proper meals, or manage medications consistently. Across millions of Americans over 65, the same pattern repeats. Loneliness does not just reflect poor health, it actively drives it. So, what do seniors try to fix it? This is where the failed fixes come in, driven by old advice. Stay busy. Join more groups. Just get out more. These suggestions sound logical, but research shows they often fail. Why? Because loneliness is not solved by activity alone. It's solved by purpose. Busyness without meaning actually increases emptiness. Forced socializing can deepen isolation. Now here's where the missing truth finally comes into focus. When you're old and alone, there is one daily practice that consistently protects happiness across studies, cultures, and decades. It's not about being around people all the time. It's about anchoring yourself to something that makes each day feel intentional. Researchers call it daily self-directed purpose. Studies from American aging research centers show that seniors who engage in one meaningful, self-chosen daily action report lower loneliness even when living alone. The cause is agency, the effect is emotional stability. But what does that actually look like? It's not grand, it's not complicated. And that's why it's often overlooked. The daily action is this: you must create one predictable moment every day where you give something of yourself outward. Even if no one is physically present, teaching, writing, tending, helping, creating, reflecting, purposeful contribution, done daily, rewires how the brain experiences solitude. Here's the science behind it. Neuroimaging studies show that purposeful activity activates reward pathways similar to social bonding. U.S. survey data shows seniors who volunteer informally, mentor, or create routine contributions report significantly lower loneliness scores, even when they live alone, even when mobility is limited. Now link this to today. Across the United States, millions of seniors are aging alone. The ones who stay happy are not the busiest, they are the most intentional. They do one thing each day that proves to themselves they still matter. The twist most people never hear is this: loneliness is not cured by presence. It's cured by usefulness. When you feel useful, being alone stops feeling empty. So, what does this mean for you right now? Before we get to the actions, let's slow down. Because the temptation is to turn this into a checklist. That's not the point. The power comes from repetition and meaning, not volume. Here are 3 direct actions people over 60 can apply starting today. First direct action: choose one daily anchor. This is a small, repeatable act you do every day at the same time: writing a paragraph, watering plants, walking and observing, sending one thoughtful message. The brain craves rhythm. Rhythm reduces loneliness. Second direct action: make your contribution visible. Keep evidence of what you do: a notebook, photos, notes. Studies show that tangible proof of contribution strengthens identity and reduces feelings of invisibility. Third direct action: connect purpose to the future, not the past. Instead of reminiscing all day, aim your daily action toward what still lies ahead. Learning, teaching, or creating signals the brain that life is ongoing. Now the warning, and it matters. Here's the clear warning based on evidence. Passive isolation is dangerous. Waiting for connection instead of creating purpose increases the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and physical illness. Loneliness feeds on passivity, and here's the open thought to carry into the next video. If one small daily act can protect happiness even in solitude, what else about aging have we misunderstood? If this message spoke to you, like this video and share it with someone who lives alone or feels forgotten. And for the next chapter, where we break down the early signs that loneliness is starting to harm your health long before you feel sad, subscribe now. This conversation is finished.